Streets of Rage 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. The smash success of these games has proven there's still a massive audience eager for some good old-fashioned beat-em-up style games. However, these games are so successful, they've set the bar extremely high. And with the newly released Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons, in this video, we're going to determine if Double Dragon actually lives up to the other classics that have been brought back to life in this genre. So right from the start, when you boot up Double Dragon and before you even begin your journey through the game, you're going to notice something a little bit different. Instead of having the option of easy, normal, and hard, this game actually gives you a multitude of different difficulty sliders that fully allow you to customize how you want your game to play. For instance, you can increase player health and lower the enemy's health, but still have the enemies act very aggressively. Or you could lower the player health and make enemies go balls to the wall and just have an all-out, pretty brutal experience. But at the same time, you could actually give yourself a handicap in that playthrough and reduce the cost of upgrading your characters. Or you could just go all out and crank everything up to the max and get the true Double Dragon experience. Once you get past the customization screen, you come to the character selection and you'll see something different there as well. In most of these titles, you only pick one character to play as. However, in Double Dragon Gaiden, you actually get to select two different characters to play through as, which is actually pretty cool because this game does have a vast roster of unique characters and they all play very differently with their own movesets and special abilities. However, to fully explain this, I'm going to use Billy and Jimmy Lee. Normally in these games, these guys are basically just clones of each other. One in the blue, one in the red, with the same exact movesets. However, in Rise of the Dragon, they actually play vastly uniquely. Billy uses kicks, seems more agile, while Jimmy relies on his punches and seems more of a powerhouse. Even their specials are different. Billy does the spinning kick attack, has a flying knee, and so forth, while Jimmy does this jumping uppercut or can rush towards enemies with a flurry of punches. And the difference in movesets doesn't stop with the Lee brothers. Marion uses a gun and a bazooka. That's right, we actually have a fully fledged ranged character in this title. Uncle Marvin is a big bulky guy, basically your Max Thunder, using raw power and a giant riot shield to lay waste to the gangs of New York. And that's just the starting characters. Overall, the game has a total of 13 different playable characters. And by the way, if you are playing in co-op, both player 1 and player 2 can select the same characters. So no need to fight over who's playing as who. Although I do want to point out the game does not do any sort of palette swap. For example, if both characters select Billy, he's going to look exactly the same, even down to the shade of blue he's wearing, which can get kind of annoying. This is because once things get pretty chaotic on the screen, it is very easy to forget which character you're playing as if the second player is playing as basically an identical clone as you. But let's move on from that vast roster and talk about the other thing that offers a ton of replay value in the game. And that is you could actually select which order you want to take on the different levels. Depending on the order you pick, the levels actually change. They add length and sub-bosses. Plus the final boss at the end of the level could change as well. For example, if you take on Machine Gun Willie first, he's vastly easier than if you take on him last. Just look at the differences. As you end up fighting him last, he comes at you in a helicopter on a rooftop. The game does a decent job of not only just adding more health and damage to the bosses, it actually mixes up the encounter as well. Thus, it can be pretty fun to play through the game many times to see what changes take place in the different levels and how the boss fights change accordingly. In fact, not only does the difference in levels make each playthrough feel unique, but the game actually has roguelite elements to it. As you beat each section of the game, you pay to unlock different upgrades for your characters. Remember the slider at the start of the video going over the upgrade cost for your character? This is what it's referring to. So depending on what upgrades you select, you can improve different abilities or just improve your passives, such as health, the special gauge regen, and so forth. And to be honest, at first I really did not like this system, but after playing the game for a little bit of time, it has actually grown on me, and I really think this brings something to the table and gives this game its own identity from other games in the genre. However, this game is not a masterpiece, and there are some complaints that really do hurt the overall experience. And one of those is when you kill a group of enemies with a special attack, the game actually freezes for a second. Basically, it pauses. It zooms in on the character and shows how many enemies you killed, which would not be a big deal, but it happens if you kill 3 or more enemies. And killing 3 enemies with a special attack is pretty damn easy and happens quite often. So you're going to be seeing the screen over and over again. There's no option in the menu to turn this feature off. In fact, you don't even want to avoid it when you're playing the game, because killing large groups of enemies with special attacks gives you a ton of rewards, such as more gold, which you use to upgrade your characters, or it actually drops health, which is the food items. So basically, you want to use this as much as possible, but then it really does interrupt the flow of the game. Another odd design choice is the fact that the Lee brothers are the only ones able to pick up weapons. As far as I could tell, no other character could actually pick them up, which is really bizarre. At first I thought this may be due to a balancing issue. However, the brothers play just as good as every other character in the game, so I'm not sure why they're the only ones that get the weapon pickups. However, I do want to point out that at least the animation for some of these weapons is different between the two brothers, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. Beyond gameplay design, there are some other cons to this title. First of all, there is no online co-op. There is only local co-op, which is pretty much a real bummer. Secondly, and this is only relevant to the PC version of the game, only one player is able to play with a controller. The second player is forced to use the keyboard, which is not the end of the world, but it does pretty much suck. So hopefully the developers patch this pretty quickly. Having said all that, overall, I have greatly enjoyed this game, and I'm still having a ton of fun with it. This is one title I actually recommend you pick up, but I would love to hear what you all think. Have you guys played Double Dragon Gaiden? What do you think of it overall? Also, what other retro IP would you guys like to see brought back? I would love to see Final Fight and Golden Axe get this retro revive treatment, but let me know what you guys want to see in the comments down below. Also, if you made it this far and did enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing. As for me, I got a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to the grind, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace.